Ever wondered why reports are so crucial in the world of pen testing? Well, let's dive into that. In the vast landscape of cybersecurity, pen testing or penetration testing stands as a sentinel, identifying vulnerabilities in our digital defenses. And the report? It's the detailed map that highlights these vulnerabilities. Imagine walking through a forest without a map. You won't know where the pitfalls are or which path leads to safety. That's exactly how it feels to navigate the digital world without a pen testing report. These reports also provide a roadmap for improvements. They help organizations understand where they need to beef up their security measures, offering a strategic guide to bolster digital defenses. Moreover, they demonstrate compliance with cybersecurity standards. In a world where data breaches are the norm, being able to show that you're doing everything you can to protect user data is invaluable. So it's clear that a pen testing report is more than just a document. It's a strategic tool that helps secure your digital assets. Creating a pen testing report might seem daunting, but it's actually a systematic process. Let's break it down and walk through the steps together. First things first, the initial phase involves gathering and analyzing data. This is where you, as a pen tester, conduct your security assessment, identifying vulnerabilities and exploits. Be meticulous in your data collection, as the information you gather here will form the backbone of your report. After the data gathering phase, it's time to move on to the drafting of the report. This is where your analytical skills come into play. You'll need to make sense of the data you've gathered and translate it into a coherent narrative. The first part of your draft should detail the testing methodology. Here, you'll describe the tools and techniques you used during your assessment, as well as the scope and objectives of the test. This provides context for the rest of your report and helps the reader understand your approach. Next, it's time to delve into the findings. This is where you detail the vulnerabilities you've uncovered and the potential exploits they could lead to. Be as specific as possible in your descriptions, and don't forget to include evidence of your findings, such as log files or screenshots. Lastly, your report should include recommendations. This is your opportunity to provide valuable input on how to mitigate the risks associated with the vulnerabilities you've identified. Your recommendations should be practical, actionable, and tailored to the specific needs of the organization you're working with. Throughout the drafting process, remember to keep your language clear and concise. Your report is not just for fellow pen testers, but also for decision makers who may not have a deep understanding of cybersecurity. To wrap it all up, a review phase should follow the drafting. During this phase, you'll proofread your report, check for consistency and clarity, and make any necessary modifications. Remember, a well-structured report is the key to effective communication in pen testing. Let's dig a bit deeper into the drafting phase of a pen testing report. Now, the drafting phase is where the magic happens. This is where we translate all our complex technical findings into a report that's easy to understand, actionable, and above all, useful. It's a delicate balancing act between providing enough technical detail to be accurate and ensuring the report remains accessible to those without a background in cybersecurity. Firstly, we have the detailing of the testing methodology. This is where you outline the exact steps taken during the pen test. It's a bit like giving someone a guided tour of a maze you've just navigated. By detailing your methodology, you give the reader a clear path through the technical labyrinth you've explored. It's also crucial for reproducibility. If someone wants to replicate your test or verify your results, they'll need a detailed roadmap. Next, we have the presentation of clear findings. This is where you lay out what you've discovered during your pen test. It's essential to be clear and concise here. Avoid technical jargon as much as possible, and remember, your primary audience may not share your technical expertise. You're not just presenting data, you're telling a story. It's your job to make that story as compelling and understandable as possible. Finally, we come to the recommendations. This is arguably the most important part of the report. After all, what's the point of identifying vulnerabilities if you don't provide a way forward? Your recommendations should be practical, actionable, and tailored to the specific needs of the organization you're working with. Don't just tell them what's wrong, show them how to fix it. In essence, drafting a pen testing report is about communication. It's about taking complex technical data and transforming it into a narrative that's easy to understand and act upon. It's about bridging the gap between the world of cybersecurity and the everyday operations of an organization. A well-drafted report should give the reader a clear understanding of the pen test, its findings, and the way forward. Now that we've gone through the process, let's recap the key points to remember when creating a pen testing report. Firstly, we cannot overstate the importance of reports in pen testing. They are the lifeblood of any successful cybersecurity operation. Without a comprehensive and understandable report, your pen testing efforts might as well be for naught. The report is the final deliverable, the culmination of all your hard work, and it's the key medium through which your findings are communicated to the client or the team responsible for remediation. When it comes to creating the report, remember that it's a step-by-step process that requires keen attention to detail. Start with an executive summary that gives a high-level overview of your findings. This should be followed by a detailed description of the testing methodology and the tools used. The body of the report should detail each vulnerability found, its potential impact, and the recommended remediation. Don't forget to include an appendix for any additional information or supporting documentation. The drafting phase is just as crucial as the discovery phase. This is where you transform your technical findings into a report that even a non-technical reader can understand. Use clear and concise language, avoiding jargon wherever possible. Be sure to clearly explain each vulnerability and its potential impact, and make your recommendations for remediation as specific and actionable as possible. Moreover, the report should be organized and structured in a way that makes it easy for readers to navigate. Use headings, subheadings, bullet points, and diagrams to help break up the text and make it more digestible. Remember, your goal is to provide a report that is both informative and accessible. In conclusion, a pen testing report is more than just a list of vulnerabilities. It's a tool for communication, a guide for improvement, and a record of your work. It should not only identify problems, but also provide clear and actionable solutions. Remember, a good pen testing report is not just about finding vulnerabilities, it's about providing a clear and actionable path to improve cybersecurity.